Hi, welcome to my N8N tutorial series. My name is Kennedy, and in this video we're going to learn about N8N installation and N8N hosting, the various options available for N8N hosting and N8N installation. This is also for people who are having no tech background and people who are having tech background, because we'll dive into the basic building blocks of N8N workflows and how we can build N8N for ourselves, for our businesses, or for others' businesses. So let's get into it. All right, so we are beginning with the installation options, having three installation options here that you have to choose from depending on what you are using anything for, and then also which one suits you or works best for you. So I'm having local installation, which basically means that you are installing anything on your laptop, just as you install any other software on your laptop. And then we have cloud, anything cloud, which means anything is going to host it for you, or you have self-hosts, because anything is an open source software, so you can host it yourself on your server, on your VPS. So the good thing about using local installation is that it's free to use, which is the good side about it. It is also fast to set up. You have every control over it. And then it's perfect for learning. For the negatives, I think it will be better understood after we actually install them. So we have two sites. We have two ways you can locally install anything on your laptop. So we have Docker plus anything, and we have anything npm, where you run an npm command to install anything on your laptop. So let me start off with the Docker plus anything. You just have to search for Docker, and once it opens up, we have option to download it for Mac. You have option to download it for Windows. So just go through it and download which one works for you, and then you just install. All right. So once you open up Docker, this is what's going to come. This is how it's going to show up. There wouldn't be a need for you to sign up. You don't have to create any account. Even if you want to, then it's fine. So once you come up here, the first thing you have to do is to go to images. Once you open up the images, you search for anything, and locate the anything io/anything. That is what you have to download. So you have to go to the other side and click on the pool. So once you finish downloading, it's going to appear here like this, and you click on the run. Once you click on the run, you have to open up the optional settings and type in the name for your container, and just type up any name. And then for the host port, that has to be 5678. That is the So the 5678 is the port name that you have to, the port that you'll be using to run anything. And then for the other ones, it's not really necessary to fill it up. You can just ignore them. So once you are done, just click on run. And that will take some time to create the container for you. Now, once you've been able to download and run the anything, you come up to your containers and you'll see anything right here. You have to click on the link here. Once you click on the link in the Docker, it's opening up the anything for you. And then what you have to do is to fill in your details, create an account, and now you can use anything. Yes, this is how your page is going to be. But me, I'm having an already existing workflows here. Yours, there will be nothing showing up since it's a new account. If you want to start up, you just use the create workflow, and it opens up a new workflow for you to work. Once the new page opens up for you, now you can start working. So you click on it to start a trigger. This is just for test purposes. You click on it, trigger to start your workflow, to execute a new workflow that you can work. So now we are going to move on to the npm install. Now we have to run this particular command in Windows PowerShell, or you just have to search up terminal in your start button. So you just type in terminal or Windows PowerShell, and it opens up the terminal for you. Once you open up the terminal, this is how it's going to show up for you. You type in the prompt npm install anything -g. But then before you'll be able to actually run anything, you'll be able to run this particular command. You have to make sure that you've already installed npm in your computer. Now you have to go to your browser and search for Node.js and download Node.js. NPM is in Node.js already. So once you install Node.js, you already have NPM running on your computer. Just as we already did earlier, you have other options to install either on Windows or you install on Mac. So whatever operating system you are using, there is an option for you to download it. I'm using Windows, so I'll just click on Windows and download Node.js. After going through the process of installing Node.js, to make sure that you are having npm perfectly installed, type in this command npm version -- version. It helps you to know that npm is actually installed. If it is installed, you will get these numbers 10.9.2, and if nothing shows up, it means that npm is not perfectly installed. Now we can go back to our prompt. We can go back to our command npm install N8N-G, and it will take us through the installation process. That is going to take some amount of time. What we have to do next is to start the N8N. You will be seeing a whole lot of these files, which is perfectly fine. It is all parts of the installation process, so don't be scared when you see them. Now you have to type in the command N8N start. And now that you're having N8N opened, this is also the same thing that's going to show up on your screen. So don't be scared once you see them. And now your N8N is actually ready to use. It has been started and it's ready to use. So open up your browser. Once you actually make use of the command N8N start, it means that it has already been opened in your browser. So now you go up into your browser to see N8N running. Just as it came earlier, you now have your page that shows up. You can create an account and you can start a new workflow. Your nodes and everything are all intact. They are all working perfectly fine. These are the two ways that you can actually install N8N on your local computer. Now, let me come back to some of the disadvantages or the bad sides about using local installation. It means that it's 24/7, like there is no 24/7 operation, because it only runs once your laptop is on. It only runs once your computer is on. So once your laptop is off, the thing is not active. Whatever workflow that you are running will not be active. And then also you can't have an external webhook. You'll get to understand what a webhook is once we start, or we go deep, and then or we start our first automation once we're able to create our first agent or our first workflow. So you can't make use of any external webhooks, and then you are also limited to scalability, which means that there is a limited number of workflow that you can create. It depends also on the specs of your laptop. And then it's network dependent. Assuming you are having a very bad internet connection, it really affects your automation. It really affects the execution of your workflow. Basically, this is it for local installation. And then once we go into the N8N cloud installation, it has 99.9% uptime, which means that it is always active. It's not dependent whether your laptop is on or your laptop is off. It automatically updates your N8N for you. And then is also having a security. It's very secured. And then it's also the N8N actually manage the whole system for you. So we can see here, when you visit the N8N site, there are the prices for the N8N usage. So if you want to make use of N8N cloud, if you want N8N to host it for you, this is the pricing that goes for you, which, I mean, each package comes with its limits, its limitation, or its features. We have $20 per month, which means that you only have one shared project. You have 5 concurrent executions, which means that you can only have 5 workflows that are active. And then also you have unlimited users, which is a good thing. And then you have forum support. Also, we have $50 per month, which obviously is going to have much more features and very better features for you. That is it for the N8N cloud hosting, which is a better option for you if you want to actually work for a client. Because for the first one, you can't really be using it for a client, because the client actually wants their workflow to be active 24/7. And then you can't be running it on your laptop if they want them to be running 24/7. So this is a good option for you if you are running it for a client. And then also we are having the self-host option, which means that you are going to host it yourself on your VPS, on your cloud. There are lots of cloud hosting platforms that you can make use of. So I'll speak to you about Hostinger. You just have to search up Hostinger, and this is what's going to come after you create your account. And you have to come down here to VPS. You click on VPS and go to KVM VPS. But after clicking on that, it takes you this. You have to select a server that is very close to you, and automatically the Hostinger actually chooses a server that is close to you and which is good for you. So you wouldn't have to worry yourself. And here is where you have to add anything to your server. So you have to search anything here. And once you search anything, you're going to see this anything. This is anything. We are having anything workflows. I didn't use that, but there are already existing workflows inside that one. Click on that, select. You now have to create a password for yourself. You have to create a password for your instance so that it's secured. My password is already there. And for SSH key, which is an optional thing, you can do without it. And then also we are having a malware scanner, which goes for free. But then the daily auto backups is also a paid feature, which you can do without it. You can also decide to activate it, which it helps you in backing up your workflows. It helps you in backing up your instances. So these are the packages. These are the price packages that Hostinger gives out. So they're having $6.99 per month for running your N8N instance, which is way cheaper than using the N8N cloud. So $6.99, and you're having access to two CPUs. You're having 8 RAM. You're having 100 gig of disk space, which is very, very good for you. I mean, you wouldn't have to exceed it and go to 9.99. It depends on the number of workflows you're going to run, but then 6.99 is perfectly fine for you. So you just have to select it. Mostly, I will advise you go for the 24 months, because the higher you go, the higher your discount is going to be. So if you either choose to pay for the 12 months combined or the 24 months combined, each of them is going to be very good. 12 months goes for $101.88, and then the 24 months goes for 167. So you can see you've actually saved a lot of money if you should decide to go for the 24 months. So once that is done, you just have to choose a payment method. You choose it. Once you've been able to make payments, now you will get a domain name for you to run your N8N instance on it. When your instance is ready, you can now run your N8N. Basically, those are the three installation options that we have. Local installation, we've gotten to see about it, and then N8N cloud, the self-host. So I mean, I added it requires slight technical skills, but looking at how it was done so easily by Hostinger, it's something that you wouldn't have to worry about. But then other platforms are a bit complicated, but Hostinger has made it quite easy for you to do that. So now let's talk about N8N automation. Let's talk about workflows. Let's talk about how N8N function. So N8N works just as taking the generative AIs. You have to send in a command, you have to send in a prompt into, let's say, ChatGPT. Once you send the prompt, ChatGPT process whatever thing that you said, and then it gives you an answer. So that's basically that same scenario that N8N also works. So the trigger is when it's something that activates the workflow, something that has to happen for your workflow to start, something that has to happen, either a message. So someone will send you a message, and then now your workflow starts, and it starts working, it starts functioning. We have a trigger, we have the process. So the process is all the other activities that goes on before you receive a message back. All the other process that goes on before you receive an action, you receive the results that you want. So in ChatGPT, once you send in a message, there's a whole lot of things that goes on behind what you see on your screen for you to get the answer that you're having, right? So basically, that's the same thing that happens when you run your N8N. This is a practical example of how the N8N system actually works. So here, this is the trigger. Here, this is the Telegram is the trigger. So it means that once Telegram receives a message in the bot, so I created a bot on Telegram that whenever a message comes in, the whole system is being activated for you to get the results that you want, right? So the trigger is Telegram here in this instance. And once a message is being sent, I would say this whole side is the process. This whole side is the processing that deciphers whatever thing that has been sent. OpenAI tries to understand whatever thing that has been said, because here is for voice note, here is for direct chat, and then your code differentiates. So it's a whole lot of things that goes on. And then the agent is the one that makes the decision. So here is where actions are being taken. You can see a lot of tools have been added, and the email is sent, email is received, Google Sheets have been updated, Google Calendar is being updated, and message is also sent back to Telegram. So these ones are the actions. These ones are the results that you want. So once you send in a message, now something goes on behind, and you get to see the results here in these tools, right? So basically, that is how anything runs. So I believe you've gotten to understand how anything actually works. So this trigger, there can be a lot of them. It depends on what you want. So we have a webhook. Let me show you what a webhook is. So this is a webhook. So a webhook basically means, so for this particular automation that I created, I did it for it's a voice agent automation that I created, where a conversation goes on with on 11 labs, and 11 labs now sends whatever data that I wanted to anything, right? So for webhooks, actions goes on a different platform, and anything receives the data that you've asked or you wanted to receive from that platform. So now when it's active, the workflow actually starts, or the workflow is activated once the webhook receives the necessary data from 11 labs. And once it's done, this will be the process. This will be the process. And now the AI agent now makes the decision. It updates the CRM. So that is the results that we want. And then we also receive a message back on Telegram. That is also the results that we want. So basically, that is it. In addition to Telegram, it can be a WhatsApp, it can be, and then we've seen webhook, it can be email. So once you receive an email, the whole workflow activates. It can be a shadow. A shadow will mean that at every point in time, the workflow should activate. So you can set it that exactly at 2 p.m. every single day, the workflow should activate, and that is going to work for you, right? So basically, this is how anything works. And in our subsequent videos, we are going to learn more, and we are going to break some workflows down and learn how we can actually create it for ourselves, and how it applies to our businesses, how it can make our work faster and easier, and how it can actually help us be productive in our businesses. Thank you for watching. I will see you in my next video.